What's up, family? This is KO, another interview in the series here where I'm interviewing some of my favorite founders, creators, coaches, visionaries, and bringing them to you here, podcast style. Today I've got Ramayan Ananda, who's the founder of Veeam, which is a Web3 platform. And I think this is going to be an amazing interview. Ramayan is a deeply devotional yogi and philosopher and legend. He's also a multi-layered businessman, and he is an amazing articulator of blockchain technology, Web3, and what I refer to, and a lot of people refer to as the creator economy, and how we can actually re-steer history and re-steer economics, because this is going to be a really important part of the whole game that we're playing, and how we want to get sovereignty, especially through transaction, especially through currency, especially through artists, etc., which I'm assuming a lot of you are. So if you're joining, drop a comment, let us know that you're listening. And there he is.
What's up, man?
Satnam, brother.
Satnam Ji.
How are you, man? Can you hear me all right?
I hear you really well. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Let me know if I need to use these.
I think we're good. I can hear you loud and clear. So
Perfect.
yeah, man, looking forward to this one, Ram. I would love for you to kick us off by, how do you describe yourself these days and what you do for the folks that are familiar with your work?
Well, I feel like today we're all multidimensional expressions. We're all expressing many facets. So on one level, I'm just another spiritual being on the journey of self-remembrance, ultimately. And that expresses through so many forms. And I think once you reach a certain stage of your journey, you realize, based on your real inherent interconnectedness, how do I bring my qualities to serve life? How do I bring my life force energies in greatest service to the good of the whole? And each one of us have been given different gifts based on our karmas, based on all of our accumulated experience and lifetimes to bring them forth. And so mine range from the musical to the creative, kirtan, bhakti, blockchain, music, creation, poetry, bringing people home with the essence of love, and bringing people home from my lineage of yoga, and teaching people and reminding people of who they are in all sorts of forms and contexts, to civilization design architecture, looking at how do we take these emergent principles that we have learned and connected to and reflect them inside of the systemic architecture that helps uplift humanity. So our economics, our social, our technological architectures, our educational architectures. So I've been deep in that world my whole life, knowing that unless we're able to create systems that reflect our new value system, that we're not going to make it through. But at the same time, if you're not able to have a collective awakening experience where people are, at a similar level of consciousness, then they won't use those technologies. So it's a consistent interplay and a dance between our inner work, our community work, and our infrastructural work.
Yes, well said, brother, as always. I love speaking to a fellow bard who can rock the word like you can.
Thanks, brother.
Usually I would just go in like my classic questions, but you can go everywhere because you're multidimensional, like you said, like me. It's 2030, Ramayan, and humanity like got over the hump. We like, a lot of the fear is dissipated. We fucking made it. I mean, there's still a lot of work to do, but big shifts happened. What do those need to be for me to even say that or feel that way?
It's a beautiful question. The beautiful thing about that question is that, again, what we were speaking about earlier is that this is such a multidimensional question. What is the scale of our inner work that we've done individually that is able to reflect in collective capacity? How committed are we as individuals to do that work? How much have we supported each other as Sangha to do this work? And I believe truly that if we're going to make it through these times, there needs to be the creation of a new nation. That for a long time we've identified ourselves by our gender, by our ethnicity, and by our nationhood or our state. And these have all been identities that have served us in the expanse of who we are, in the expanse of our communities. But we're facing challenges at a global level. We're starting to see ourselves as a global species. We're starting to have technologies that are able to reflect at a global capacity who we are. There's so many things that are asking us to think bigger. of who we are, of our core identity of self. And what a nation is, which is different than a state, right? Over the last 200 years, we've had the nation state, where your nationhood, which is your set of values, beliefs, and understanding about self, religion, whatever it was, creates a sense of collective identity. That's a nation. A
Right.
state is a social economic architecture, governmental political architecture that binds people together. In the last 200 years, we've had the binding of the nation state as one, almost to the point where we forget those are actually two different things, right? So if we're going to make it through this time, there needs to be the emergence of a meta-nation, or a nation that's able to encompass a greater degree of who we are, that transcends and includes our religion, our caste, our personality, our genders, our temporal identities into something larger, that is able to create a collective value system that we adhere to, that allows us to say, yes, we're part of this, and this is greater than our separate little matrices of identities, and then have the economic, sociological, and technological infrastructure that allows us to make decisions together as a collective, allocate resources, and realize our collective power in relationship to that. And so for us to make it through in 2030, it's that we've created a new nation state, the Heart Nation, unanimous nation. I don't know what we call it yet. We'll figure it
Right.
out. But whatever that is, that allows us to say, wow, we're actually linked arm in arm. And we feel like we can make big leaps and big transitions because we're together. And we're embodied in a new collective value architecture. And there's now technologies that are enable us to be able to effortlessly deploy our attention, our energy in a way that is reflective of this. That's what I see us making it through. And we have power. We're powerful when 10 million, 100 million of us gather and say, yeah, we're actually united, and we're combining our economic power and political power, not as nation states, but as a new nation of humans, of people.
Yeah, I think you're on the money. It's going to be on the order of that magnitude where the shifts can have enough ripple effect. And I'm assuming you've gotten into Balaji's The Network State. What do you think about that?
Sorry, say that again, bro?
I'm assuming you've gotten into Balaji and his The Network State, the book that he just released.
I haven't.
Have you gotten into this?
No.
Oh, dude. I mean, you're literally like sharing his thesis. I mean, he's a little more on the technocrat side, obviously, because he was, A16Z, Coinbase bro. But he basically is talking exactly what you're talking about, separating, nation, which, nation, like nacimiento, like it means shared birth or common
Shared birth.
birth,
Yeah.
and the state, it's kind of chicken or the egg. Like when humans were first forming, solving the coordination problem, was the state formed first or the nation? I personally think kind of obviously it must have been the nation.
Was the nation, absolutely.
But there's arguments both ways, and basically, he's talking about a blockchain version of this where we basically coordinate and create the nation based on shared values, and then the state, the protocol, right? It's like nation is just the people, and the state is the protocol, which blockchain tech is great for. We create that in the cloud first before we deploy on the ground, right? Say in Costa Rica, Mexico, British Columbia, wherever. What do you think about that? Do you think that is that a sound way to go about it?
I think it's, again, an overly simplistic, technocratic answer. Sure. I mean, I'm speaking to you as a bard, right? The reason why we're both bards and technology, we're creators in that world, but we're also bards, is that the only thing that's going to move the human spirit is the human spirit. It is only the awakening of the human spirit, the ceremony, the song, the collective prayer, these great unitive forces, whether it's John Lennon or Michael Jackson, or these beings that have actually galvanized the attention of billions of beings. And say whatever you want about Michael. I mean, when he did Heal the World, when he did Earth Song, when he did Man in the Mirror, he galvanized a collective heart of people who felt something deeply in their beings, and he created a center point of attention where everybody was having a common sensation, a common feeling. He was actually one of the greatest forces that could, I believe, have helped unify humanity. Right? I think there was a character assassination there. We don't need to get into that too much detail, but I don't believe that the blockchain is great. It's an accounting system. Awesome. Helps us. It's useful. I'm in it. I'm deep in Web3. I'm all about it. But we have to understand these are utilities. But if we don't understand that this transformation is a very human affair, then I think we're missing the majority of the point. I would say 80% of it.
Sure. That's a great answer. And like, so on that front, right, we have this whole idea of narrative warfare. We have, mass media, which, take your pick, whatever side you lean on or wherever you get your info. It's crazy out there. At worst, it's propaganda and it's manipulation. At best, it's like, where are these sources coming from, and is it colored by emotion and bias? What is the new narrative? Does it come through the arts, like the Renaissance, like you're saying? Is that going to be a story or myth that can move people? Or is
But
there a way to sense make beyond art that could still get maybe more of the intellectuals slash, even the common man who maybe isn't as interested in that stuff? What will move them? We need a mythology on that level.
I think it's always going to come from the arts. It's always a story, right? Arts, more generally speaking, right? I remember Michael Meade said, "We're not made out of atoms; we're made of stories." Right? And it's true. I mean, ultimately, as a fabric of a human society, we are a collective tapestry of stories. Stories that we believe, the stories that we inhabit, the stories we tell ourselves and each other about how reality operates. And yeah, I mean, plugging into a new collective story matrix is really important. I mean, that's why I'm building what I'm building in terms of the platform creation, because we need a new place that humans gather, that we galvanize, that is not social media, but is communal co-creation and communal interactions. We need deeper places where we have the trust and fabric of community to create with each other. And it's it's a really difficult question because the word media comes also from the word message and the word mind and manas, all from the same root. So media is the imagery and projection of light and sound and form that creates impressions in the mind that causes us to live out our lives. And the powers that be know this. It's an extremely well understood phenomena of why it's even called the fourth branch of government. And so as a society, taking back the power of our media is extremely important, but it's not easy. It's not easy because there's a lot of game theory dynamics in here around attention, around where attention flows, around the training of one's attention, around the type of things that grasp attention that are connected to the lower limbic system of the brain and are connected to like different parts of our being that are able to be hijacked really well by very sophisticated agents. And I don't see that going away. Like, I don't see a utopian world where all of a sudden, like, there's some moment and we're all no, man, like, this is going to continue probably till 2050 and probably till, humanity attains collective realization. I don't know. It's more like, how do we create new circles? Meaning if a new type of media network that is as good, with as good user interface, which is as clean, which pays creators better, and it's just underlying built on better technology, underlying it just treats everyone more fairly, underlying it uses that data to be able to amplify the positivity of the human experience better, but it really looks and feels and tastes like something that we're really familiar with. That's really when we start to see a shift. And we can see that same in government. Like, I'm working really deeply with a lot of the people in the digital democracy space. And, in this type of blockchain collective sense-making, decision-making. And until it reaches a place where it's so easy and it's so intuitive for the average person to use, you're just not going to get that threshold.
Yeah.
Which is where, I made a post a couple weeks ago about how the revolution is a UI UX design challenge. And it was for this exact reason.
Totally. Yeah, it's all about incentives, and it's all about, there is a way that attention and people have already been trained with their phone to follow the path of least resistance. And that isn't an impediment to the innovation. That's actually a royal road, as you're describing.
Beautiful.
And I'm waiting. I've been saying this. Like, BitClout was a cool experiment. There's a few other projects that were cool. We need something as sexy and as easy as this, which is Instagram, or whatever, TikTok, if you're into that. That is, like you said, the back end incentivizes humanity, not a race down the brainstem, and not just keeping you on app as long as possible and extracting. That's it.
That's it.
And I would love to see that.
And what it comes down to is a couple of things. It comes down to corporate structure. So you can't do the same corporate structure where you build the technology, you raise a bunch of capital by venture capitalists into a model promising, same type of corporate returns and expect to get a different output of incentive. It can't be done. So fundamentally, what you have to do is you have to build a different model, which is why I like blockchain. You have a token economy, and this economy doesn't equate to ownership of the company, but of the protocol and the platform. You're able to then use that same token economy to decentralize and incentivize the nature of the technology to a degree where the collective that uses it is able to own it. And you're able to have a very clear collective agreement about how the funds come in and how the collective decision-making can unfold over time to allow for all the stakeholders to participate and play and make it win-win. This is the new experiment. And some are succeeding, some are failing. It's a Cambrian explosion. There's no right or wrong way. But this is the movement now, recognizing that unless we create a different mousetrap, or however you want to call it, you can't expect a different result. You plant an apple seed in the ground, you're going to get an apple tree. Like, you got to change the seed. You got to change the soil.
Love that perspective. And is this part of what your vision is with Veeam? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, it is. You know, we're rebranding Veeam actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's coming out soon. I had a vision where I really saw that what we're really doing is we're building a new home for creation and the sacred energy behind creation. Like, what is creation? We really ask, when you create, what is occurring? There's a connection of inspiration. And inspiration, spirit are the same word. Spirit, to breathe, inspired, breathing in. You're breathing in from the cosmos. You are tapping into your primordial life force energy and bringing something out. The act of creation is actually sacred. It's a beautiful act. And we've learned how to commoditize creativity. And that is the compromise and bargain we've made with capitalism. But in its essence, if we're going to rewrite how these systems work, we have to come back to understanding a bit more of the natural laws of creation itself, how we
Yeah.
harmonize with them, what the sacred balance reciprocity is in nature, what the systems are of the mycelial network with the soil, with the fruit, with the trees, to be able to create abundant ecosystems. How does creation work in nature? How does it feed itself back and cycle regeneratively back to take care of the good of the whole, right? When I saw this, I'm like, wow, we're really reconstituting a model for creation. So we're like, let's just call it our platform Creation. So our platform is going to be called Creation, and it's going to be called creation.space. Um,
Yes. I
and
love that.
yeah, we're moving towards a new home for communities. What's up, Jenny? I love you too. And, you know, I believe the future of social is communal. I believe that social media V1 has been about engagement, likes, comments, shares. It's mostly projection based. Your community is really people who follow you. You don't really have many tools to engage, co-create, and build anything with your community. You know, even on Facebook, like we ran Unify and we still run it. And wow, like how little we are given as actual tools to co-create, to own our own members, to
Right.
we have thousands of creators writing to us every month wanting to create with us, and there's no model for co-creativity, shared ownership, shared incentives. It's nothing. It's basically like pay us to reach your people. The end.
Yeah.
And like the
Right.
fact that we subscribe to that is kind of ridiculous. It's like we've agreed to modern feudalism, essentially.
Yeah.
And we're in these modern feudalistic attention economies, and they keep it that way. And so creation space is a space where humans can come together, and creators of their community can build community. They own their community. It's all on the blockchain. They're able to build shared treasuries together, so communities can tell the creators what they want to create. The creators can create it, and the communities can get part of the shared upside through continuing to participate in it. There's a whole new methodology that's underlying with blockchain that gives creators and communities a deeper possibility for richer collaboration, co-creation, and mutual shared ownership. And that's the framework.
Yeah, I love that. So it's kind of like how people imagine Patreon could be if it wasn't so extractive,
Yeah, you got it.
combined with what we thought social media would be, which is a digital commons,
Yeah,
an actual digital commons.
yeah. I
And
like
then there's the
that.
shared ownership piece, which I'm imagining is mediated through NFTs.
Yeah, it is.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But I think you're one of the best people I've heard drop this definition for the folks that still don't get NFTs, right? Can you lay that on us for posterity here?
Sure. I mean, it's really simple. You have two types of tokens. You have a fungible token, which means that one is the same as another. Um, a One Bitcoin is the same as another Bitcoin. One Ethereum is the same as another. It doesn't matter which one you have. Having one type of Ethereum versus another doesn't confer any special benefit. They're all the same. That's called fungibility. Non-fungibility means one token is different than another one. It means that inside of that token, there's a data set which gives it uniqueness. That's it. That's all it is, right? Now, the mechanism of storing it on the blockchain means that it's provable unique. You can't double spend it. You can't double trade it. There's only one. It doesn't live on your hard drive. So you send it and 1,000 copies can be made. That's not possible because it's on this decentralized ledger called the blockchain. You know that there's one unique NFT. So you have provable uniqueness. That's all it is. Now, what that enables you to do, because you have provable uniqueness, is actually a really big thing that it's solving. It's solving the issue of being able to know something is yours and to be able to have proven ownership of something, which in a digital world where everything can be replicated ad infinitum, whether it's an image or a video or a contract or a 3D model or pretty much any creative art, being able to say, hey, this is actually mine, is a big deal. Now, what happened is that they took that and, the market flooded with these JPEGs that people were
Yeah.
selling, and they called them NFTs, and that's what everybody thinks NFTs are. But that's just one specific utility of that technology towards something that had
Right.
some good things and some not so great things. But the technology itself can be used for a lot of things. So if you have a digital community, right? If you have a community mediated by a blockchain, you need assets, right? Your assets are going to be fungible tokens, which represent money assets, and non-fungible tokens, which are going to represent other assets. So all your pieces of art that are originals, you can now prove that this is an original art, and you can embed a real license contract into the NFT saying that this is mine. And if you buy this, you own this original art, all of its copyrights, all of its work in perpetuity. You can fractionalize that to give community access to it. You can split it with the community and with the creator and with all the people who remix it. It gives you an ability to be able to have a shared economy around content. And then content is just where it starts. I mean, people have now made NFTs which represent your house, in your house, your housing contract.
Right.
Any physical asset can be represented. Pretty much anything that you have can now be a physical asset represented by a digital contract. So our protocol Voltage embeds digital contracts and signs them into NFTs to allow them to be fractionalized, which gives digital communities an actual methodology of collectively owning assets. That liberates you from the system. Now,
Right.
when you're talking about DeFi, you have a real reason for DeFi, not just taking tokens and earning interest on tokens. You're able to collateralize real assets, take out loans in them. Now you're going to start to see the communities be the future companies for real, because they can own assets and have banking frameworks for them. This is where the future is going. And that's why NFTs are so interesting beyond just what I think people have commonly understood about them.
Yeah, brilliantly said. I mean, this is the use case which actually creates a separation from things like the music industry, the fine art industry, from banking, where constantly there's a gatekeeper, a middleman doing extraction.
Yeah.
And I think the way you're sharing this, and obviously we need to make it so simple a 5-year-old could understand, because how many musicians do we know? How many DJs, visual artists, speakers, coaches, all these people will benefit from this technology and these types of communities, and like basically a profit share ownership model that doesn't feel terrible. It doesn't feel like the older model.
Yeah.
And this is a big thing, and I'm on board with it. I think this is where the puck is moving, where all the creators, all the people running memberships, all the people selling art or music or want to, give people a part of their creativity and have a dedicated community behind it. This is where the puck is moving.
It is where the puck is moving. And I think the second part to this is, I think what really is exciting to me is unlocking human potential. So when I look at Unify, and I look at the 2 million people we have in our community, I'm like, how many gifts and skills are here? How much genius is in this room that all feels like, wow, this is an amazing place to be. How many people want to feel more connected to us? I mean, if you look at the thousands of DMs we have, people want to be more connected. They want to participate. They want to share their gifts. They want to contribute their gifts and skills to what is happening, and there's no methodology. And I think that's the saddest part. So yeah, I mean, moving from subscription to co-ownership is one step. The second step is, how do we unlock the gifts and skills of our community towards actualizing something in the world? That is what fascinates me most. So in our platform, we have methodology where you know who the people in your community are, what their gifts and skills are. So just by alone knowing what the gifts and skills are of the people in your community, and then creating a model to incentivize them to participate, when you have a shared treasury, now you're unlocking human potential. Now you're unlocking communal and collective potential. And now you're becoming a vehicle for humans to build real relationships through co-creation and to earn their living potentially through your being a galvanizing creator. It's a completely different story we're writing here. And I think that excites me almost more than anything else.
I mean, that's amazing. That's like a Dharma index. It's like, all right, we want to like build this, or we need this kind of like council. Like, who do we got? Oh, boom, just bring up the list. Searchable. That's it. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, man.
So Ram, in terms of, your personal creativity, besides, building this amazing platform, where is that leading? Is music calling you more? Are you all in on Web3? What's alive for you?
Yeah, thank you, brother. I was at Burning Man this year.
First time, right?
First time.
Oh, I bet you just were like, you're like coming home like a kid at Christmas.
It's like, these are where have you been all my life? All my people. Yeah, I would have gone earlier, but every year my teacher does a 3-week empowerment during Burning Man. That's like once a year I have to go, and so I made that commitment to my teacher, and this year it wasn't happening. Boom, I could be at Burning Man. And the whole time at Burning Man, I was just playing 2 or 3 sets every day. I brought a scroll of, a bag of poetry. I'm a poet. I have a book calling the Book of Love coming out soon, which is all devotional love poetry, like Rumi and Hafez and Tagore and Kabir. They're my teachers. They're the ones that have inspired me with that devotional love poetry that's so close to the beloved, that is about the yearning and the longing of the soul to be in the arms of the beloved. And that's really where my heart and soul are called deeply when it comes to art. So whether it's doing kirtan or devotional experiences or poetry or bringing people home to the heart, is what I love. And yet it's definitely taken a back seat, if I'm going to be honest, building this platform and being the quote unquote CEO. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And it's been challenging to be in my artist and my CEO life at the same level, but I'm okay with it because I know that my highest offering is creating the potential for millions of others to shine, and my time will be there in exactly the right moment. And I'm carrying the seeds of that within my heart, and they'll never not be there. And they'll express through Burning Man and through being on sets and through handing out poetry and through doing kirtans when I feel inspired. And I don't need to create a projection out of it at the moment. I trust that its moment is aligning as I build a platform that I need to represent my work into the world.
Yeah, I love that. Well said. I know so many people, including myself, balance entrepreneur and artist, and it's like it's a struggle is real.
Dance, man.
It doesn't have to be a struggle. Totally. Each has its place, and they actually synergize, especially when we're talking about a platform like this. So that's exciting, man. Where can people get involved with Veeam, soon to be creation.space? How do people check it out?
I mean, right now it's veeam.com, VEME.com, at Veeam, VEME on Instagram. It'll soon be creation.space, but everything you see as Veeam will probably change to that anyways. So just follow us at Veeam.
Great. Definitely recommend y'all check it out. It's, a lot of people think NFTs are just selling apes and penguins, and, it's pure speculative, but this is an example of a project. If you want to learn about Web3 and the creative economy that is emerging, I would highly recommend checking this space out. So amazing, brother. So grateful for you. And sending you big love, man. Can't wait till I see you in person, maybe at Envision, maybe somewhere else.
Yeah, where are you in the world right now?
I'm in Ubud. I'm in Bali.
Ubud. I actually may be there in December. I'll hit you up.
Well, I might be in Austin by then, so we'll see. But if I'm still here, definitely.
Well, brother, well, it's good to be here with you. Sending you big love, man. I miss that beautiful face of yours. Thanks for having me on your channel. And look forward to more collaboration, man.
Big love, brother. See you soon.